Joining us this morning is Mr. Joe Tech. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Just dancing at the zombie zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Tom Petty?
It's Tom Petty.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Oh, it's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yeah.
I see you. You put your costume on.
Yeah.
You shaved.
I did. Yes. Actually, I did shave for a costume. Yeah. My wife and I went as Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe, and I could never find a picture of Joe DiMaggio with a beard.
Oh.
So
Well, you look good as Marilyn Monroe.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
We did have fun. I just wanted to more match the Frankenstein in the back. Now it's very hard to tell us apart. You know, at least when I had the beard, it was hard to tell us apart. But now it's like, no, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
All
there you
right.
go. Yeah.
Now, you usually go with other couples. So, do they do the same sort of theme, or do they go something else?
The couples were likewise a couple's costume. So there was Sandy and what's his name from Greece?
Oh,
John
okay.
Travolta.
Yeah.
And then there were two couples that went together and were the Scooby Gang. So yeah, there was a bunch of couples costumes.
So it wasn't like all the guys were like you made up the whole Yankee team.
No,
Okay.
No.
All right.
We did last year. It was the whole group doing Wizard of Oz.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we couldn't come up with something for the whole group, so we just did kind of couples costumes. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Excellent.
So
Well, good.
Yeah.
Glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
It's a fun time of year, isn't it?
it is a fun. It helps bring out the kid in you a little bit,
Sure.
kind of like Christmas does. But yeah, it's nice to, have some fun and let loose a little bit. So
Yeah, and it's also nice when you have a weekend like this and you have a win on Friday.
Yes.
Kind of going into
Yeah.
the weekend. That's always a nice thing too. So
yep.
no complaints there.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's new in the world of technology? We had a couple stories this morning involving Apple and Samsung and.
Yeah, Apple, kind of a surprise. They had an announcement yesterday. So they finally got the memo to do their announcements on Mondays so that we could talk about them on our show.
Excellent.
So we appreciate that,
Thank
Apple.
you, Tim Cook. Yeah,
thanks. The other surprising thing was it was at night. It was at 8 o'clock at night. So going up against Monday Night Football and... I think there was a baseball game on yesterday too. So
yeah, World Series going on.
Yeah, so they went right up against them.
Is that because they really don't have anything big to say?
I think it's more a little bit of dipping their toes in the water of are we where we think we are in terms of being a part of the zeitgeist, the culture. Can we do something in the evenings and get people to watch? Can we make this an event that is not just for tech journalists, but can we do something at night and have regular people like, the only other thing that I could think of that is comparable would be the Victoria's Secret show that they do. Now, it's not the same thing, but it's the only other brand that I could think of that would do something in the evening.
You see they're back to like models now?
Are they? I did not see that. I don't
Yeah,
keep up with Victoria's Secret. I know it's surprising, but I don't keep up with what they're doing.
Yeah, so they abandoned like models and stuff, and then now they're back because their brand declined.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I guess if you're gonna do it, why not do it when you're up against football and baseball to really test the market, as you're saying.
Right. See what you can do, and it wasn't iPhones. It was new chips and MacBook Pros. So not your flagship product. Something that's interesting and some people would be interested in, but not the big event that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how it went. I mean, I haven't heard anything yet about whether it was a success or not. They also introduced iMacs, so they introduced a new chip and new computers to go with the chips. And the other thing that was interesting, though, at the very end, they added a quick note. This event was shot on iPhone and edited on Mac. So that was kind of interesting that they're pushing the fact that you can do these kind of things on an iPhone. Now, I'm sure it was the Pro Max model, but that's interesting. So
Well, I'm going to pull up the story we ran this morning. I want to see if they show clips, because then maybe you might be able to see. So they're saying this was shot on an iPhone
and edited on a Mac. Now, a lot of that is computer graphics.
Right.
So this is probably shot on the iPhone.
Computer graphics.
That's computer graphics.
Now this might be stock footage
That's
for the
probably
business
stock
report.
footage from
Yeah. So it's a mix of the business story and clips from what they showed. But that's interesting though.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, Joe. They're like, so that right there would be
yeah, exactly.
You know, with what we do, sometimes to grab the phone and to get a quick shot or something, I've used it for commercial work before. And it's great and handy.
Well, and I mean, you know, I didn't have equipment, but I knew we were going to talk about the Steel City Comic Con when I had gone, so I just grabbed my phone and, you know, gave you some, you know, some kind of background stock footage type shots, and it worked just fine. Yeah. I mean, the cameras are great, and the computing power of the phones now is enough that.
Well, I think
the
other thing that a lot of companies obviously have gotten really good at is getting the footage off your phone. There was a time where, remember how big of a pain it was?
Oh, my goodness.
Pictures or video. How do you save this stuff?
Yeah.
And for a long time, it felt like it was impossible.
Yeah.
Like you had to, like there was really no way.
Yeah.
But
you had to plug your phone into your computer, and yeah, it was a pain. I remember the early days of listening to podcasts. I would have to go to like their website, download their podcast, put it into a folder, and then move that into a folder on the phone. It was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to listen to, and that's how you had to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so much easier now.
So much easier now, yeah. But you're right. Yeah, there's so many ways to either get it off your phone or to just back it up to the cloud. You know, it's just so easy to make it automatically back up to the cloud, and then if you're on a desktop, it's like, oh, it just pulls it off the cloud, and there you go. So yeah, it's a different world we live in. But that's where we're at. I mean, it's funny that the biggest things to talk about were not the things that they introduced at the event. You know, we've spent 5 minutes talking about the event and not really discussing what they announced. New M3 chip, M3 Pro and M3 Max. Yeah, new chips. It's going to be faster.
Yeah.
Great. So.
Well, but we've talked about this the last couple rounds.
Yeah, not just with these computers, but with the phones, with just about everything. It's like
I think everybody's sort of running out of things to bring up.
Yep.
This is interesting. The average lifespan of a smartphone is around 2.5 years. Bigger brands like Apple and Samsung tend to have larger or longer lifespans than smaller companies.
Because their phones are more expensive. So people are more willing, and they're better phones, so people are willing to hold on to them longer and need to hold on to them longer because they're expensive. If you're in the cheaper phones, it becomes more of a, you know, more of a throwaway device. If you break it, you don't get it fixed. You just throw it out and get a new one.
It seems like that's kind of where we are with TVs and appliances because nobody
Yes.
can fix them anymore.
Right.
So it's just cheaper and easier just to toss out your old TV and you can spend less than $200 and get a really
Right.
big TV.
Well, and if you've kept your television long enough, you're like, well, I paid $700 for that one, but the exact same thing is now $300. So why don't I go with $500? It's less than I paid the last time, but now I get a bigger TV that's better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very easy to just throw stuff away. And
In that department, I've already heard people say that they've seen the tractor trailers parked up against the big box stores.
yeah, or the shipping containers.
The shipping containers,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah. Those are full of TVs and other electronics. Yeah.
all the Black Friday stuff.
Will they have, typically some of the Black Friday deals are on movies and hard copies of games, but we've heard that they're starting to do away with those. Will they have one big last blowout on movies and hard copies of games, or will they just kind of peter out?
I don't see. I see so many people that run in, especially in this area, and grab movies, and they get them from the sales bin. They get them from those specials. We mentioned, I think it was Best Buy mentioned that they weren't selling movies and games next year. I think they're gonna. I think they'll still bring them in for the holidays.
You think so?
I think they'll have like the cardboard cutouts, or the display cases.
It's
So they
a
might not
really nice gift to give people. It's like, oh, I know this guy likes science fiction, and
Yeah.
here's an obscure science fiction movie that I bet he doesn't have, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And I just think around here people are like, well, Uncle Ted doesn't have any streaming services, or he doesn't, he lives out in the sticks, doesn't have cable,
Yeah.
doesn't have whatever.
but he's
Get
got
him
a
a
DVD
movie.
player still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
I got into a conversation Friday night with the other media company that was there to cover the Corey Beavers at the football game. And he's like, yeah, we're talking about upgrading to 4K. And I'm like, why? Why would you spend all that money on that when people are still watching on their phones
Yeah.
or their computers?
Yeah.
There's just not a need to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're 10 years away from maybe looking to upgrade.
Yeah. They just want to be ahead of the curve.
But at the end of the day, though,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
You're watching it here. Or,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're looking on a small device. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
or even if you throw it up on your TV, what are the chances your TV's 4K?
Right. More and more so, but you're still,
I get it.
especially around here. And it depends on which TV in the house you're looking at. A lot of people might have a 4K that's their newest one, maybe in the living room, but if you're in the bedroom, that's probably not a 4K TV. So yeah, I agree with you. So
Interesting.
yeah.
You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel. We're here with Joe Tech this morning on this Halloween morning. Pretty scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
Since we're talking scary, you want to do our weekly artificial intelligence is going to destroy us all segment?
Absolutely. Who was it that came? Oh, Biden, right? Talked about
That's actually, Biden's here to save us all. An executive order to clamp down on artificial intelligence. It builds on 9 non-binding agreements the White House made with AI companies. It provides rules around artificial intelligence for all the various agencies under his control. So, which one? The National Institute of Standards and Safety will be responsible for developing standards for AI models before public release. Department of Energy and Department of Homeland Security are directed to address the potential threat of AI to infrastructure and the chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and cybersecurity risks. So, yeah, I don't know that this is certainly not enough, and I'm certain that Congress is going to continue to work on more laws to govern artificial intelligence. But it's at least a start.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but it seems like you see stories with one side or the other.
Yeah,
Like this could be like this is very scary, and we need to take the right precautions. And then the other side's like, well, it's still in its infancy. You know, there's still a lot
Yes.
to develop, and it's going to be okay.
yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of I think a lot of unions are talking about how this could take jobs away.
Yes,
So-
they're rightly so for a union. They're concerned, but again, all the tech folks say, well, this isn't going to take away jobs. It's just going to change jobs. You're still going to have a job, but now you're going to have to use AI. But they said the same thing with automation, and it's like, look at a steel factory. It used to house 3,000 people. Now it's like you're lucky if there's 300 there because of all the automation. So.
Yes. We still need you here to program it until it can do your job.
Yeah, exactly. So I think short term, yes, there's no concern about losing jobs. Long term, I'd be concerned.
Well, when you pair that up with, I think robots are getting more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
worried.
You have a robot right now in an auto manufacturer that can do one thing that it's pre-programmed to do, but say you throw it in artificial intelligence that it can now determine what exactly it needs to do, and now it can do 5 things.
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe now we don't need to hire those other 3 people. So
Okay, we talked about this months and months and months ago. I was in one of those big box stores. It's a club, and just walking down the aisle, and the floor cleaner was coming through. The big
Yeah.
Zamboni looking ones. Nobody was operating it,
yep.
and I'm like, whoa. So how many jobs does that replace?
Yeah. Yeah. That may have just been the guy tripped and fell and it just kept going.
Yeah, he was back in aisle 4.
No,
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
it is. Yeah, I mean,
But it was cool too,
it is
because it wasn't
That's the
wasn't
thing,
running
though.
into anybody.
It is. You're right. It's pretty cool, but it is. Yeah, I mean that's some guy's job, and eventually it'll be a forklift that doesn't need a driver, and
So there's a couple rides at this one place we'd like to go to vacation, and it's based off of wireless tracks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's using what do I want to say? GPS, but it's using a very
Like
sophisticated,
LiDAR.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and very
radar, yeah.
sophisticated Wi-Fi to map everything.
Yeah.
So, when you look at that kind of technology and kind of compare it up with, again, how sophisticated robots are getting,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, it's just crazy what's
Yeah.
around the corner.
Yeah. There was another interview with a guy that used to work for Google in their Deep Brain, I think it was. And he seemed to indicate that the big techs want the government to set standards. And that's why that meeting that they had, that on Capitol Hill behind closed doors, but it was with a bunch of tech folks. They kind of want the government to put regulations up so that they kind of know where the playing field is. Because
Okay.
right now it's just kind of a free-for-all, and until somebody puts some walls up, they kind of don't know what their purview is, and to some extent he's saying that these companies want those walls up so that they know kind of where the arena is. Because right now it's just a free-for-all, and they don't really know if, there's a lot of money being thrown at it by venture capitalists, but they don't really know how this is going to play out as far as how to make money off it. So they don't know if it's going to be an ad model, a subscription model. They really don't know. So they're kind of looking for the government to kind of put some barriers up.
See, I don't. To me, that says a couple things. One, if you're behind and you're trying to get caught up with everybody, it slows up others so you can get caught up.
Yep.
And then that's the other thing you're doing is you're slowing up people who are really getting going with this stuff. But I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, it's still like a literal free-for-all right now. And Chat GPT, which we've talked about before, they have now opened up their model that it can search the internet.
Ooh.
So before we had mentioned that it was built on a model of static data, and that's all it could use when you queried it. When you had they call it a chat, and you chat with it, it could only look through, but essentially it was built on static data. Well, now they've opened it up so that it can search the internet. So if you need to query it or chat with it about something current, it can search the internet and understand what you're talking about.
I don't know how teachers are going to monitor all this stuff.
I don't either.
Joe, good to see you. Happy
Good
Halloween.
to see you too. Yeah.